This is Harry Judd for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. I'm delighted to be joined by the next US star, Darius Fulghum. How are we, Darius?
I'm doing great. Having a good morning so far.
Talk to me what's going on. You're former amateur star, now 2-0. How have you found transitioning from the amateur game to the pro game?
I'm actually a big fan of the pro game. I always have been. That's really mainly what I've been training for. My style is built for the pros rather than the amateurs. So I've actually transitioned pretty well. I'm finally starting to get the pace down. Like I said, there's a big difference from the amateurs to the pros, but 2-0, 2 KO so far. So everything's smooth sailing. Everything's going how it should be.
In terms of amateurs, I mean, what I've found is, did you find it hard to get amateur opponents, or was it pretty easy for you over in America?
Locally, impossible. Because after you fight everybody locally, the only time you can actually fight would be the bigger tournaments. And then, hold on. So, it was, I would say, pretty challenging. So when I first started out, I started boxing in 2015, and when I first started, I was getting fights like that, like every week. Then after, when I got to maybe about like 20 fights, then I like shut down completely. Then the only time I'll be able to fight was at huge big tournaments. So it wasn't the easiest to get fights. I'd have to go travel to go get them, but that's a part of the game.
You're back out on a Wednesday against Dave Murray. Tell me a little bit about that midweek fight. We love boxing in midweek fights, but yeah, why Wednesday of all days?
I wish I could tell you why Wednesday. I have no idea. I have no idea why Wednesday. This is my first time ever. Yeah, it's funny. Actually, my debut, I fought on a Thursday, so I guess I'm used to the midweek fights. But that doesn't matter to me as long as I fight. That's the only thing that I care about.
And your opponent, Dave Murray, yeah, what exactly do you know about him? What do you exactly expect from him, to be honest?
I don't know too much about him. From a little bit that I've seen, uh, I think he just has maybe a decent jab, but nothing that I'm like really like overly concerned about. I've had a great camp, trained extremely hard, had some really great sparring, in great shape. So I'm prepared for anything. I'm prepared for a world championship fight on Wednesday. Um, so the only thing that I cared about really in preparation for this camp was make sure that I was the best version of myself. Best version of myself can be anybody. So I just made sure that I was physically, mentally prepared for anything on Wednesday. Wasn't much film, so there's not much that I can like really analyze and try to get a idea for. So I'm prepared for anything.
How quickly do you want to move? Because you've only been, well, recently, but how quickly do you want to move and impact the division?
Uh, kind of quickly, not like Lomachenko quickly, probably. But relatively quickly. Still, I'm doing this is another 6 rounder. But I really just want to take it fight by fight, to be honest with you. And slowly see how everything kind of picks up. But as far as activity, I really do want to be active, 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 active. I think it's just kind of a hard thing for me to get opponents at this time too, to take the fight. So I think that's another issue that we kind of run across.
You've been now with SJAM since late last year. Talk to me about how it's been going with them so far, and the decision really to sign with them. Yeah.
But everything's been good, man. We've moved my career really well. So I'm happy. I'm satisfied. Everything's been going great. SJAM, they're great. They're great people. I think you know them. So uh, they're amazing what they do for their fighters, and we've been moving really well. So I'm happy with the decision I made.
And I mean, you're a bit different from your average boxer. You obviously got a degree in nursing. How
Right.
important was it for you to have something to fall back on?
Well, I think it was really just huge, really just for my mental sake, right? Like, I tell you one thing about me, right? I just had to make sure that I secured my future, right? You know, because a lot of times it doesn't have to be that I'm not good enough, I'm not talented enough, right? It can be some crazy circumstance or whatever. It could be why I don't succeed in boxing or something like that. You just never really know, right? So I always want to make sure that I secured future for my future family and stuff. So um, that's why I made sure it was my priority that I finished school first and got my degree. So got my degree in nursing. I can always go back to nursing, but like, then, that's how I really knew like boxing is everything to me. Like I'm not like in this for the money or whatever. If I wanted money, I would be in nursing right now. Like they're making a killing right now. Ever since the pandemic hit, I had first making crazy money. And here I was on team. I was barely making anything. And that's when I knew I was like, this is what I'm meant to do. Like I had the passion, the drive for it. Like, I'm not the money guy. Like I just love the sport.
Did you box within college?
Yeah, yeah. While I was in school, yeah, I did.
And how was that? How did you find
Uh,
all
Extremely challenging,
that?
especially because it was nursing school, man. Nursing school was so hard. Like I'm a pretty smart kid, and throughout
Yeah.
all high school, I would breeze through school. I wouldn't really even have to pay attention, and I was uh kind of top of my class. But nursing school was a different beast. And it really kind of challenged me, and it did set me back a lot with boxing because I literally couldn't miss school. If I missed school, I would fail, you know? And so I missed out on a lot of opportunities boxing, really getting my name out there, missing a lot of big tournaments because I just couldn't go. These were week-long tournaments. I couldn't go to those. There were some I was able to. My schedule just so happened to work. But so not only the competitive side, but the training aspect was a challenge too. I remember waking up, I'd get up, I'd be at the gym at like 5:30 in the morning. I'd finish about 7:30, 7:30-ish, shower, drive to school, be at school like 8:20, class started at 9. I'd take like a 30-minute nap in my car in the parking garage. I have my pillow, my blankets in there and everything. I take my little nap. I get up, I crust out my eyes, go to class, be there for hours studying, then go back to the gym. It was hectic, man, but I mean, it's just a part of growing and developing and really getting to this point.
So I guess you didn't, because in the UK, especially with university and university sports, there's a massive drinking culture that goes with it. I'm sure you didn't get involved in any of those things. You were so busy
No,
with proper work.
I tell you, and a good thing about it too is my college experience was a lot different.
Yeah.
Because uh, the school that I went to, it was like a branch campus, right? So I wasn't attached like to the main college. So the branch campus I went to was just the college of nursing. So everybody that went there was all nursing students, and the culture there is completely different from, you know, at a university. Like everybody that was there was extremely like disciplined, dedicated to like to their books. So completely different. I would say that.
How What's more stressful? Because nursing, I've never been, never done it, but credit to everyone that's in that profession. What's more stressful in your eyes, the nursing occupation or the boxing?
That's a good question, and I'm gonna probably my answer. I'm gonna probably actually say nursing. The reason why I say that is because I think you know my love for like boxing is extremely stressful. I think we all understand that, but I think just my love for it, right? So that's just for me individually, right? My love for it goes way beyond anything. So I overlook all the really stressful parts of it. It's just my passion and my love for it, right? So I think that's why I probably say nursing would be a lot more stressful. Even just being on the unit, there's a lot of stuff you got to deal with. I mean, you got somebody's lives in your hands. Like, obviously, a boxing, my life is on the line, right? But I go in every day committed, knowing that, and I've trained preparing for that. So, uh, extremely different. But yeah, to answer your question, I'd probably say nursing is more stressful.
You are at the moment. I mean, you're just waiting to fly out to Detroit, but you're in Texas at the moment, aren't you? So, I mean,
Right.
I saw an article from Forbes recently, a few months ago, saying that boxing's popularity is surging in the US. Boxing only trails American football. It's the difference with in the UK. There's not as many sports as there are in the US. You can see why some boxers and boxing events don't get as much coverage because there's so many sports that are going on. American football is huge in the States. British football, or soccer as you'd call it, is massive in the UK. But with boxing only training baseball and basketball and football, and it's ahead of MMA, why do you think that is? Why do you think boxing at this very point in time in the US is starting to rise up again?
That's actually a really good question. I wish I really had a really intelligent answer for it. I could try to guess maybe my opinion. I think a lot of people really hated uh, Jake Paul and a lot of the YouTubers coming out, but I really think that it brought like a lot of awareness from other avenues into the sport. Really, this is an entertainment sport, right? It's an entertainment business, and I honestly do think they brought like a lot of attraction to more mainstream boxing. And that's the only thing that I can really guess.
So I from that, I'd say you are a fan of Jake Paul because there are a lot of boxing fans and boxers that are
Right,
against that. A lot of boxers that dedicate their lives throughout to get
right,
to, let's say, a British title clash, for example, and Jake Paul swoops in, especially with the news of I think it was the WBC were going to
right. He's
going
gonna
out
rank
to
him.
rank, yeah,
Right.
and boxers that dedicated their lives, and he comes in because of his social following. But from your answer, you'd be supportive of him because of the traction and engagement it brings to the sport.
Actually, I'll tell you my answer, my opinion about it. I actually really don't have a problem with Jake Paul. I don't at all. So a lot of people do, but I think some of the stuff that he's done for the sport is amazing. And so to listen out, so I can explain my answer, right? Uh, him paying other athletes. He's been a advocate of athletes actually getting paid. That's what he gets big on MMA and the UFC about. Dana White doesn't pay any of the fighters. He's been an advocate. He's took out of his own money to pay fighters on his card and make sure they had higher paydays. Like that to me, that's amazing. They're talking about, oh, Jake hasn't put any work in to really get this recognition. It's an entertainment sport. If you can put people in seats and get viewers, that's the opportunity. Like it is not easy to be a YouTube sensation like people think it is. Like that is not easy to create a buzz and following like that. That is a lot of work in itself, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? And the other thing too, I'll say about Jake Paul, do seem like he does take it boxing seriously. I think he's been training since like 2017. I remember before he even started boxing, I had a friend. I think this when Jake was still doing like music or whatever. He was on a tour doing a concert, and I had a homeboy that was helping train him and doing boxing. I was like, Jake Paul's boxing or something. Oh, okay. I thought he was just doing just for like uh just just to exercise or something like that. Then I find out he started boxing later, so I think he's been boxing for a while. That was back in 2017 when I heard that. That was before any time he even became out actually fighting. So I don't have any issues with Jake Paul. To be honest, anybody that is really probably just a hater. To be honest,
In
and
terms
that's fair.
of,
That's their own opinion, right? But I would say I don't say I like Jake Paul. I don't have any problems with him.
I think a lot of people are in the same boat as you in that one. More eyes on the sport, some would argue, is really really good. But in terms of your goals, I mean, one of the early goals that you had was the Olympics, and that was
Right.
unfortunate that fell through. But where do you see yourself now in a year's time?
You said in 1 year's time. I would love to finish. I would love to finish this year 5-0. That would be lovely if I can be able to squeeze like at this fight, be able to squeeze two more in by the end of the year. That would be amazing. But by the end of the end of next year, I like to say the same thing. I'd rather just keep 5 fights and rather be 10-0 and then eventually now in that point, I'm really starting to reach a point where I can uh, move past kind of the prospect phase, start going to a contender phase. Um, and I've been moving relatively fast as far as round wise. I'll probably start doing eights really, really soon. And then, like I said, we'll just kind of keep testing the water. But I like to kind of start being in the contender phase into early end of 2023, like early 2024.
There are discussions about you in the UK. Is there any chance that we could see you over here sometime soon?
I hope so. I'm not gonna lie, because I actually haven't been to the UK yet. I haven't, so I would love to come over there. And I think main reason why is I know you're just talking about the UK fans in boxing. Amazing fans, like that the way that I see them support. I love even when I watch any fights that are over there and you just hear the crowd going crazy. Like I'd want to be in an atmosphere like that. Like I want to be absorbed in just the energy that UK brings. So I would love to be over there for real, for real. So hopefully I can get to be over there soon.
Let's talk about the division at the moment. Who do you pick as the best light heavyweight at the moment?
My answer actually would be Bivol, right? I think he has the best skill set. I went to the Joe Smith and Better Be fight, and Better Be is a crazy talent. I will say that for sure. But I just think Bivol has the skill sets really to really beat him. I don't, he really dismantled Canelo, did an amazing performance against Canelo. And what threw me off is people didn't they didn't know about Bivol really before he fought Canelo. And I was like, Bivol's been fighting top dudes like since he came into the pros, like early. You know what I mean? He's fought a lot of great opponents. And so I would honestly probably say him. He's the biggest threat, because it's just pure boxing ability. Yeah, I'm not gonna say he's gonna sit there and knock you out. I better be at would, but when you got somebody that's a pure boxer like that, they're really hard to mess with. High volume, um, really good with his range, good speed. So I would say him.
You mentioned Beterbiev. Reports are that Beterbiev and Anthony Yard will be fighting. Yet to be announced. What do you make of that fight?
I don't see Anthony Yard winning, to be honest. Um, I know he had his loss to Lyndon B. Arthur, then he came back, and I'm not gonna lie, and he came back, he looked damn good when he fought Lyndon. It looked like a completely different fight. I don't know what happened in that period of what he's changed. But the thing I say about Yard, even I think when he had his first like big step up, he fought Kovalev. Uh, I just think it just depends on his training camp and how well he'll do in this fight. Like, I don't think when he fought Kovalev, I don't know if he had a good training camp or whatever, but he like gassed out early. I remember, maybe like midway through the fight. Then fast forward, had the Arthur fight. But he came back and looked really good. So I mean, it's hard to say. I think it depends on his camp, but I think still, regardless, I think he doesn't have the style to be better BF.
The Bivol and Canelo fight you mentioned. Do you reckon Canelo can come back and make it again at light heavyweight?
No, I don't think he should. Uh, Canelo's already one of the greatest pound for pound fighters in the history. He's came up. What did Canelo start his career at? I remember when I first seen him, he was already fighting. He was fighting at 54. I don't know if he ever started at 47 when he first started, but from 54 to 60, 68 to 70, like that's that's impressive. That's impressive. There's some people can beat at 75 for sure, right? But I don't see him beating a better BF. I don't see him beating the Vol. But there are some fights that says 68 I want to see. I do want to see like him with Benavidez. I think that's a huge fight. I think a lot of people really want to see because Benavidez is highly talented, is one of the greatest like probably champions coming up. Still young, very talented.
And the third, Canelo and Triple G fight. That being said, yeah, again, your thoughts on that one?
A lot of people aren't really that excited for that fight. And I can understand like story wise, it's like we've seen this fight twice already. But I'm not gonna lie, both those fights were like really good. Like they were both really entertaining. So I'm still excited to see the fight as just a boxing fan or whatever. But I think Canelo's gonna dominate this fight. I say that because I think Triple G's been kind of going on a downtrend. So I think Canelo will win.